Warriors NRL fanatics here, back today with a video, and I'm going to get into my NRL tips for round 4. Now, starting off on the Thursday, the 1st of April, sees the Manly Seagulls versus the Penrith Panthers at Lottoland. This is the Manly Seagulls home game. So going into both teams' form, now the Penrith Panthers, they're coming off a good win over the Melbourne Storm in the grand final rematch last week down in Penrith. You know, the majority of the game looked like Melbourne were going to go on and win, but Penrith, they produced something special, and they managed to come over the line over Melbourne and make Melbourne go to back-to-back losses. So, you know, Penrith, they had a lot of players out. They had Nathan Cleary out. They had Episode Coruscant. Dylan Edwards came off in the second half with an injury. So, to produce that performance, Penrith, and get a win over the grand final premiers from last year was a great performance overall. And, you know, Penrith, they showed why they'll be contenders this season with that win without all those players. So, great performance by Penrith in general. And, yeah, what can you say? They were great. So, going into the Manly Seagulls now, they have been far from good this season. They're 0-3 at the moment. They could easily be 0-4 after this game, and you know, I don't see any reasons why they will be not 0-4 after this game. Now, you know, Manly, they've got some issues there at the moment, and they're in a bit of disarray. Now, their team hasn't been able to gel their combinations. You know, there's quite a few players there that Manly probably need to start looking to drop, and it's hard to say with Manly. It's really hard to say. You know, they're without Tommy Turbo, but you shouldn't be relying on one player in particular to, you know, get you out of a hole. And if Tommy Turbo comes back, yes, they could possibly still contend for the top 8, but will they be far too behind to contend once Tommy Turbo comes back? Probably, but you know, it's going to be it's going to be a tough for Manly, I think, in this game. And you know, they're up against the Starship Penrith team, and the Panthers will have Nathan Cleary back. So I don't see Manly getting up here. I think Penrith will win this, and I think they'll win it rather comfortably. I've gone with the Penrith Panthers by 24, and my first try scorer I've gone with Viliami Kikau. On Friday the 2nd of April, Good Friday, sees the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs at Stadium Australia, which is formerly ANZ Stadium, and it's in Sydney. Now, for both these teams, and looking at both teams on paper, you obviously would say that the Rabbitohs will win this rather comfortably. But let's go into both teams' form. Now, the Bulldogs, they have been very ordinary. They have not scored many points. They've been conceding points, and you know, they have been kept scoreless for the last 2 weeks. They've been kept scoreless against the Penrith Panthers. They've been kept scoreless against the Brisbane Broncos. And you know, Trent Barrett, good luck, I say, but it doesn't look very good at the moment for them. And you know, I thought they'd be the most improved team heading into this year. It's early days, I know, it's round 4, but you know, at the moment, they're not showing signs of being the most improved team at the moment. No, they're showing signs of being a wooden spooner contender like they were last year. So, you know, this is going to be a tough ask against the star-shredded Rabbitohs lineup. Now, the Rabbitohs, what about their performance against the Sydney Roosters last week? They were far too good. The scoreline shows that it was a lot closer than it should have been with the second half. The Roosters managed to score a couple of late tries, but you know, for me, the Rabbitohs were far too good, and yeah, they just produced their outstanding performance there. You know, the likes of Adam Reynolds, Cody Walker, Cameron Murray, Latrell Mitchell. You know, they all had outstanding games. Damien Cook, they were just incredible, and don't forget Alex Johnston as well. He had a great game as well. So, you know, in this game, this could easily be 40 or 50 points. But I've been a little bit conservative here. I'm going to go to the Rabbitohs here by 12. You know, the Bulldogs, they might get up and score some points, but I don't think it'll be enough to beat the Rabbitohs here. I think the Rabbitohs by 12. First try scorer, I'm going with Latrell Mitchell. So, yeah, Rabbitohs by 12. The next game sees the Melbourne Storm versus the Brisbane Broncos at Amy Park down in Melbourne. Now, what can you say about both of these teams? So, the Melbourne Storm lost back-to-back games. Now, it's the first time they've lost back-to-back games in a long time. You know, it was very much a surprise that Melbourne didn't manage to get over the line over Penrith. I thought they were leading for the majority of that game. I thought they were going to win, but they didn't. And, yeah, they're not in the top 8 for the second week in a row after 3 rounds. So, you don't often say that about the Melbourne Storm. They're very consistent. I know it's early days, but you don't often say that they're not in the top 8 after 3 rounds. So, going into this game, I think Craig Bellamy will have them fired up and ready to go. You know, they've got Ryan Papenhuyzen coming back, Melbourne, so that'll be a huge boost for them. As for the Brisbane Broncos, huge win for them last week. I know it's against the Bulldogs, but any win you can take, breaking your own losing streak that you hadn't won a game from till last year, gives you confidence moving forward. So Brisbane will be pretty happy with that, getting a win in their first time in a long time. So going into this game, no tougher test than the Melbourne Storm down in Melbourne after Melbourne, you know, coming off back-to-back losses. And for me, I don't see Brisbane getting near Melbourne here. I do not see them getting close. I think Melbourne will win this rather comfortably. I'm going to say Melbourne Storm by 30. It could be a lot more, but I'm going Melbourne Storm by 30. And first try scorer, I'm going with Ryan Papenhuyzen on return for the Melbourne Storm to score. So, yeah, Melbourne Storm by 30. On Saturday, the 3rd of April, sees the Crinoshacks versus the North Queensland Cowboys. And Cronulla last week, they were without a bench, you know. They were well in that game against Parramatta. The scoreline may have shown it was a blowout, but they were well in that game. They were well in it in the first half, and, you know, to have no fully fit bench was a bit of a tough ask for Cronulla to come back and win, but they were well in the contest. And, you know, going by the Sharks' first couple of games, they've had a close win, they've had a couple of close losses. Cronulla have been in the contest in some of those games, and, you know, I think they'll be far too good for the Cowboys here. Cowboys been very, very ordinary. They're 0-3 to start the season. They've got injuries. Todd Payton, you know, he needs to start changing some things around with the Cowboys. It's not his fault they're losing, but, you know, the Cowboys, they need to start looking to youth, and they've got some issues there at the moment. So I think, you know, I'm not tipping the Cowboys now. I've tipped them the last couple of weeks. I do not trust them now for the last couple of games, and I don't trust them here, and I won't be tipping them for a while. So I've got the Sharks to win by 10. I think they'll win over the Cowboys. The next game on the Saturday sees the Gold Coast Titans versus the Canberra Raiders. Now, the Gold Coast Titans last week, they were way too good for the Cowboys. You know, they were way too good. What can you say? Second week in a row, they've been the Queensland team. Yes, it's the Cowboys. And, you know how I feel about the Titans this year, personally. This is no hate on the Gold Coast. Don't get me wrong. I'm seeing people comment on my video saying on social media, on Facebook, that I hate the Gold Coast Titans and I bash them a lot on social media and on my videos, and I don't tip them. Now, I don't hate the Gold Coast Titans. I do not hate them at all. So I'm not sure where people are getting these comments from. I don't understand it. I don't hate them just because I say the Gold Coast Titans are overhyped. Just because I don't tip them doesn't mean I hate them. I don't hate them at all. Now, if there's Gold Coast Titans fans watching this video, the reason why I don't tip your team is I have a personal opinion and I'll stick with it. I don't hate your team at all. You know, if you guys go well, I'll give full credit to you guys and say congrats on the win. But I just, for me, now you haven't played any decent teams. You've beaten the Brisbane Broncos. You've beaten the Cowboys. You lost to the Warriors. You lost to us in round 1. Now, yes, they're good wins. Don't get me wrong. They're good wins. It's good to beat your rivals, the Cowboys and the Broncos. But those two teams, they were in the bottom half of the ladder last year. They were in the bottom half of the ladder. The Broncos were wooden spooners. The Cowboys were shit last year. They didn't have a good season. They were in the bottom half of the ladder. Now, if the Titans beat the Raiders this week, I will come on next week and admit you are a finals team. All right? I will admit it on video next week that you guys are a finals team. So, you know, I'm not writing you off in this game. I think you have a great chance to win. I think you've got a great chance here to beat the Raiders. The Raiders, to me, last week, you know, they had a lot of injuries. They had 3 players come off. You can argue the case last week that if the Raiders had all their players on the field, probably they would have beat us. Yes, probably. But to have a 31-10 lead into the second half, and you let the Warriors score a lot of tries, you know, to say the Raiders were robbed, the Raiders fans out there who are saying they were robbed, this is a message for you. You were not robbed. Yes, I understand you were frustrated and disappointed with that call, that forward pass that led to Ben Murphy scoring for the Warriors to claw their way back into the game. Yes, it was a forward pass. I agree with you. But you weren't robbed in the game. Simple as that. I don't believe you were robbed. You know, you had a big lead and you let it slip. You got us back in the game. You weren't robbed in the game. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm sick of seeing the whole week. This is a bit of a rant. I do apologise for this. I'm sick of seeing the whole week on social media the likes of pages out there who are saying, oh, the better team lost. The better team lost. Well, the better team should have put that game away. They should have put the game away. Simple as that. They should have put the game away. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm just going to move on. You know, right, going to this game, you know, I got the Raiders here. I think the Raiders will be fired up to bounce back. I got the Raiders by 6. And my first try scorer, I'm going to go with Josh Papali. I do apologise for that rant. I just had to clear it up and say it because it really was annoying me the whole week. I saw on social media, no one giving credit. The media is talking about the referee forward pass call. Not many people giving the Warriors credit, and we deserve some credit for that win. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, yes, there's some experts out there saying we deserve to win, but there's some media outlets also reporting that, you know, the Raiders got robbed and all that shit. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, on to Sunday, the 4th of April, sees the Newcastle Knights versus the St George Illawarra Dragons. This is at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. Now, the Newcastle Knights, I've got to say, I was very, very disappointed with Newcastle on the weekend. Very disappointed. You know, Mitchell Pearce's 300th game, I thought Newcastle would win rather comfortably over the West Tigers. I'm not taking anything away from the West Tigers at all. They deserve to win. They were the better team, don't get me wrong. But Newcastle's error count in this game, man, they just made tons of errors. It's just not good enough. You know, Mitchell Pearce's 300th game, they were in front of 20,000 fans, and Newcastle, you couldn't produce the result. You know, I'm sure Newcastle fans will be very, very frustrated and disappointed that they not won that game over the Tigers. I'm sure Adam O'Brien will be filthy as well, because you look at him in the coach's box, he was absolutely pissed off. He was angry. You know, in the press conference, he didn't look happy at all. So, you know, going into this game, I think Newcastle, they'll bounce back. I reckon they'll bounce back. But I'm not ruling off the Dragons here. I'm not ruling them out at all. The Dragons have shown some great improvement lately. Their last 2 wins have been great performances. And even their first game, I did say they were a little bit disappointed in the first game, but you know they were a little bit in that game against the Crinoshacks too. So you know, going into this game, I've got the Newcastle Knights here to win. I think they'll bounce back and they'll win it a very, very close one. It should be a good game. I've got Newcastle by 4. First try scorer, actually, I'm going to go with an opposition player here. I don't often do it, but I've gone with Zach Lomax for the first try. So, Zach Lomax first try and Knights by 4. So, on to Monday the 5th of April. Now, if you guys want to see my tip of the Warriors versus the Raiders game, Warriors Roosters game, I did a preview of that game and I gave my prediction in there. So if you want to check that on the channel for that video, do make sure you go check that out. So the West Tigers versus the Parramatta Eels. This is down at Stadium Australia, which is formerly known as ANZ Stadium. And the West Tigers, they picked off a good win last week, a very confidence-boosting win. As for the Parramatta Eels, now, they've started the season pretty well. They're 3-0 at the moment, so yet to lose a game after 3 rounds of competition. And, you know, what can I say about this game? Well, look, I think Parramatta will win. I think they'll win this. I think they'll win this, and I think they'll go 4-0. You know, the West Tigers, look, yes, they got a win last week. Yes, it was a good performance, but they're taking on a better team here, Parramatta. They're taking on a better team, the Parramatta Eels. So, I've got the Parramatta Eels by 14, and my first try scorer, I've gone with Tom Opacek. So, my tips are the Penrith Panthers by 24 over the Manly Seagulls, the Rabbitohs by 12 over the Bulldogs, the Melbourne Storm by 30 over the Brisbane Broncos, the Crinoshacks by 10 over the North Queensland Cowboys, the Raiders by 6 over the Gold Coast Titans, the Knights by 4 over the Dragons, and the Eels by 14 over the Parramatta Eels. So, yeah, that's my tips for round 4. And, yeah, best of luck to all your teams on the weekend. Hopefully your team gets up. Hopefully my Warriors get up on the weekend over the Roosters in an upset. That'd be awesome if that happens. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.